What's going on, everyone? You do not want to miss this. I am with the awesome Niko Lukoff. Niko Lukoff is the founder of Displaced Comedians, an awesome Facebook group with comedians that perform online. Niko, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mudit. Thanks so much, man. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So, for viewers that don't know, because of this pandemic, us comedians, we have been forced to perform comedy online, but it's been awesome. It's been this really fantastic networking opportunity. So, Niko, tell us the origin story of Displaced Comedians.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And thank you so much for your kind words. I love you being a part of all this and seeing you all the time on these Zooms. It's just freaking cool. Um, so back when the shutdown happened, I started before the shutdown. I was a pretty new open micer. I'd done about 30 sets live, very infrequently, like not consistent timing. It was
Gotcha.
I just got bitten by the bug, and I was just pumped. And then everything shut down, and I had already wanted to somehow, between when I was doing mics, just kind of practice in my garage for some kind of audience in some way. I would only do mics when I traveled for work. So when I was at home, I was just hanging out with my family. Get married and 3 kids, and that's just what I do. And when I travel, I would do mics, when I was just visiting a different area. So
Right.
everything shut down. I really wanted a way to keep on working on this. And I saw that one of the comedians that I had met when I was traveling was doing a Zoom mic, was on a show, Rachel Rothenberg's mic.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I was like, I definitely want to see this comic do their set. And I did. And I watched a lot of the mic. I thought it was pretty neat. And I was like, there's got to be an angle in my garage that I don't mind people seeing. This is before I understood virtual backgrounds. So I'm like, this angle, I'm gonna do it. And I sign up, and I did 5 minutes, and it didn't go great, but that's fine. It's an open mic, and I'm a new comedian. But I'm like, I got to figure out a way to keep on working on this. And one of the benefits of when I would travel for work is I would end up joining these different Facebook groups based on those regions. So like Portland, Seattle area,
Yeah.
some areas in California I traveled to. So I got to see what people were doing in these different scenes, and saw that there were a couple of Zoom mics going on in these different areas. Not a lot, but there was like one or two from different areas. And I was like, gosh, how do I keep track of all 4 or 5 of these?
Yeah.
Which is nuts, because there's so many. You can do that in a night easy if you really want, if you're willing to put forth the effort to do that. And then I just wanted a way to keep those things grouped together. And I knew that the way to grow that was not to just have like a website and just hope people enter information, because I'm like, I need to extract and interrogate people to get the information that I think's helpful. And that's what a lot of it was in the beginning. Like, I'd see people posting about a mic. I'm like, okay, but how long are their sets, and how exactly do you sign up, and where's it spaced out of exactly, and is it streamed anywhere, and all these, what format, like all these
Right.
things. But a lot of times they're like, why is this dude bugging me? When I'm like asking them all these questions. But I knew that this is info I wanted to have. And I knew that putting it in a group was going to encourage not only communicating and us hanging out and networking, but that'll drive that behavior of, hey, I heard about this mic in my scene, let's add it to this. Like, I really wanted to get
Right.
that kind of group think together, not just like hoard info, but I wanted people to be in the group to gain access to it, because I wanted to encourage that growth. Now it's, the information is more publicly. You don't have to be in the group to like have the access to the list I've got, but that was its infancy.
Right.
And then I just kind of started cobbling together information. And I don't recall if you were there at the beginning, but at the beginning was just one announcement post with just a list. I would say Monday, and then the mics that were Monday, then Tuesday. And it was just like, for some stupid reason, I put them in Mountain Time, because that's where I live, but nobody knows Mountain Time. So I was like, this is ridiculous. And it took so long to edit. And then I was like, all right, this has got to be a Google Sheet. So I spent some time just making all the tabs, information I thought were going to be pertinent, put a Pacific time. People do math. If you don't understand Pacific time, too bad, figure it out. It's not hard. You got the internet. Even though I've definitely screwed up time zones when I've gone on a mics and shows before, definitely done that. And I'm sure I'll do it again. And then it's become this crazy, wild thing that you see today with thousands of people, very active, a lot of show opportunities and mics, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit, and connecting with folks like you all over, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And for folks that don't know, I mean, this Displaced Comedians is booming. It is the place to be virtually, of course. And I have the same recollection where it started out where I joined Facebook groups of different cities and metropolitan areas that had, their comedy groups. And then, when the shutdown got real and we started to realize that like we're going to be here for a while, and the Zoom mics started to trickle in, and then Displaced Comedians became the central go-to place, from my recollection. And I mean, it's really thankful for the opportunities and the networking as well. Oh,
Yeah, it's so fun, dude. You can go anywhere in the country and also in different areas in the world and be like, there's someone's there that I either already know or can connect you with somewhere and something to do. And all these people is what's blowing me away too. Is like all the people putting on these mics. Because right now on the list, I've got about 160 occurrences a week. Somewhere that's some because somewhere like a few times a week, and I'm sure some are not active. That's why I always ask people like, tell me when something's not happening anymore, because it's got to be. I can't be at all of them.
right.
You know, I'm at a lot of them. But you know, but people dedicating their time and energy putting these on, because while you're not booking a venue and putting that together, there's
Right.
still a lot of energy and work to put together, you know, several hours a week of, you know, the day of the mic and everything leading up to it and dealing with everything everyone put on. I'm just saying I appreciate everyone producing these, and I'm
Mhm.
directing traffic, and thank you for making places to do that for.
Yeah. So how do you balance like the work that goes into maintaining, the Displaced Comedians database and balancing that with like your comedy writing and your own stand up? Like, how do you keep that in check?
I heard the word balance and I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what might have cut out there. Um, it's certainly a challenge. I mean, because yeah, like I'll do, because sometimes I'll even feel bad because I'll be someone will submit the mic information, but I'm like, I got 2 or 3 things that I'm doing that I'm like I don't get to immediately. But it's still, you know, a few times a week I still update it. I've tried to make it just easier for people to submit mic information, because I had wanted people to have to do a little bit of homework, a little bit. I don't know if homework's the right word, but I don't know if it's a test, but like they say, hey, add my mic to the list. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll go to my announcement post, look at the format that I've got, put
Yeah.
in the comments that information that's in those tabs, and I'll enter it. It's like, look at what we're doing already, see how it
Mhm.
is, and enter the pertinent information. And you know, about half the time it's incomplete information. We're kind of going back and forth. And that was kind of part of the purpose of it, was like, hey, you got to be engaged in this. But now I'm like, look,
Mhm.
here's a Google form, enter the information.
Yeah.
It sends to me. It's trying to make it simpler. Um, and and just by doing it, I don't know. I just every couple of days I'll go in and I'll add the
Yeah.
mics that I see they're added, and and just keep going and keep doing it. I don't have a great answer for the balance.
No, I hear you. I mean, that's something I'm trying to figure out with everything, really. I mean, comedy and life and exercise and just the whole shebang. It's
You just cut out the exercise and you get more time for the rest of the stuff.
yeah. No, I hear you. So it sounds like we've started our stand up around the same time. I mean, it's a couple months in, and then the pandemic hit. The shutdown is kind of returned in the winter time. So I want to dive into your own content, your own stand up. How would you
Sure.
describe your kind of go to topics and preferred types of content for your stand up sets?
Well, one thing we were talking about stuff like tonight I'm doing a show. It's a clean comedy show, and I'm
Mhm.
very fortunate in that. Just the stuff that just pops in my head that's silly to talk about just isn't not clean typically. So
Mhm.
most of what I'm talking about is just like, you know, whether it's goofy wordplay like my chair bit I really enjoy,
Yeah.
or goofing on, you know, podcasts being like dates on the internet, to like just I'll just think of like some kind of goofy thing I think, and then I'll work a story around it. Or you know, the core of what I had started doing, the story I was trying to tell, which I think I'm getting to, I wouldn't say completion, but getting more out of it, and working on it a lot, is a story where when I was 15 I got in trouble selling weed at high school,
Mm.
because you're not supposed to do that there, and that's like the opening line. And then just
Right.
going into the story and then connecting with some funny heckling that happened in Zoom, to like
Mm.
these things that it led to, and getting shipped away for all these weird places that is, you know, for several years of my life. So that's kind of like, I like to look at it as like a someday that's going to be, I don't know whether it's a special, that's going to be a longer set that I hope and I feel like I'm going to be kind of known for in some
Mhm.
capacity. And if you see me on a Zoom, you probably had to listen to at least some portion of that at least a couple of hundred times, while coming up with just kind of silly, funny takes on things, kind of witty. I really like wordplay.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like when that necessarily the only thing that's involved, but even then, sometimes it just makes me so happy, and I
Right.
enjoy it. Just silly weird takes on stuff, and that personal story that, you know, that I get to tell, that actually the like that I got sent away to these places, actually that's actually connected me even more with my family, being able to share comedy with like my sister and other folks. And it's been kind of, you know, there's the cheesiest of therapy thing, but it's definitely helped
Right.
overall. And I just really enjoy it.
Definitely that, and I have a similar appreciation for wordplay as well, and I really do get a kick out of like puns and wordplay, and I like seeing the growth and where that can go, for sure. I you know, I think I've seen this question come up in discussion. When things get back to normal, which I think will take a while, what do you kind of foresee with like displaced comedians and online comedy? I would hope that it kind of still is available moving forward. But what do you think about that?
So I have a very overly optimistic, rose-colored glasses, kind of naive view in one sense too, because again, I'm coming in this new open micer. I never did comedy, the only outside of Zoom that I was ever paid money for like this. So, but I will say I don't see this going away. I see it changing, adapting for sure. Just like when a lot of live stuff opened up, I get messages from people saying, "Hey, I was doing this Zoom mic. I'm not doing it anymore. Maybe in the winter we're going to, when it's harder to do stuff outside, like on the East Coast, for example." But I think it's gonna stay. It's just gonna evolve. Like I think, like we've already seen it where, I did a show the other day with somebody who had never done a Zoom before, and they were going to a live show that they were doing. And they were in their car running their set, and that kind of added to the closeness and the weirdness of all the stuff. The dude crushed, went into the set, sent us pictures in the group chat, because you always have a group chat before the Zoom show, like and we're just chatting and just all connecting and having a good time together. Yeah. I think it's going to happen more and more. I think we're going to be waiting in line to sign up on a mic, and we're going to run a set. We're going to. I was talking to a comedian recently on a podcast who was talking about how, after you get home, after you do a live show and you're still kind of pumped, and you're like, I should have said this or that, maybe you'll pop on and do a Zoom. I don't think, people aren't going to be like, you know what, screw live, I'm just going to do a Zoom now because live sucks. Depending on their situation, maybe that's the case, because a lot of folks physically can't get to shows, or physically had a more challenging time, physically getting on stage, whether it's because of, physical abilities, mental stuff, emotional stuff going on. But for folks that were able to go and do it with, relative ease, I think we're still going to all do it, but we're probably going to just do both. And one thing I think will be super cool to see, which I think has already happened, I don't know exactly where, but it seems like something that we have the technology now. You could do a live show and have it showcase everyone that's in that local market or whatever you want, whoever on that stage, and then say, hey, here's this comedian doing a guest. We got a guest from this other state here. Let's put them on the screen right now. That's on Zoom, because then you've already got the connection of everyone there. I don't think people are going to go to clubs just to watch Zoom. Maybe they will. I could be wrong, but I could see like we did the live stuff. Now let's bring the special guest on that we weren't going to see otherwise, and now we're in this really cool environment and connected in this way. I don't know. That's what I see happening. Again, I am not on any of the monetized side. I have no idea any of that stuff. What I'm just seeing as a consumer and as someone doing comedy and someone who likes to do sales and marketing things and just see what people are likely to like. Yeah. I think that could be pretty neat.
Yeah, I think, and I think like my first comedy festival was one of the recent ones, like the New York Underground one. And one of my biggest takeaways was the marketing and really pushing your brand as a comedian. And I think like what you're describing can come to fruition, but a lot of that is dependent on having like the marketing behind it and selling the idea. And so I think, that's a very like that can help like propel me and like driven comedians to that kind of vision as well. Cause I've been enjoying the online scene that's been flourishing and whatnot. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It was fun doing that, and being on these fests and stuff online has just been a pretty cool, definitely different from live, and live definitely has different challenges, and so does Zoom. So
definitely. Well, this has been fantastic. I will be including all of Niko's information, social media information, that is, the Displaced Comedians Facebook group, his social media info, and other items that pertain to Niko's comedy. Anything else you want to plug, or any words of wisdom?
Oh man, if you haven't hopped on a Zoom and you want to run some sets, it's a lot of fun. Hit displacedcomedians.com. I know you have the information up there and do that stuff. If it's not your jam, totally cool. I just hope whatever you're doing well and having fun doing it, and hope to see you on a Zoom.
Awesome. Well, this is fantastic. And this is probably the best platonic Zoom date I have ever been on, Niko.
Look, man, your theme internet dates, I have a good time.
Yeah. All right.